Hey guys, thanks for showing up for this video. Today's video I just want to quickly discuss with you the three phases of building an online business. I noticed that in the chart over the last webinar that we had for the private group, there were a number of questions that I think were raised based on the fact that a lot of you guys are sort of like kind of like a bit confused in terms of what sort of services would you be selling and where should the focus be. So for those of you who don't really have an idea of what sort of a business you would be building online, I see this pattern sort of like happening over and over. People are getting stuck on the idea of wondering what is it that they would be selling if they are going to build a business online. And there's really kind of like three phases that you've got to go. I would call them building blocks to setting up a business online, but I don't want to call them as building blocks, because if I call them building blocks, then I think it's going to undermine the next 2, 3, 4 videos that I'm going to do based on this subject matter, because it makes sense for me to share the three phases of building a business online, and then break those phases in detail so that you can apply them, and I should be able to walk you from point A to point B, where now you have the first phase built, and then you can move on to the second phase and then the third phase. All right, so the focus of this business, of this webinar today, is the phases that you've got to go through in building your online presence as a business. Okay, so really the main I think the main ingredient in terms of building a business online is understanding exactly the starting point. And most of you guys who are in this call, you really sort of like don't have a set of skills that you could actually say, okay, this is what I can package and sell. And I think that's a starting point, because most of the guys that I've worked with when I do consulting for either an established business or maybe somebody who is just starting, or maybe they are migrating their offline business to actually venture into online, the main problem or the main issue is they just don't understand how to create, how to package what they have, whether it's a skill that they've learned, or maybe it's a set of products that they can actually package or repackage and use them as products that they can actually sell to an online as an online business, which could be an extension of their offline business. So there's a number of facets that I think we're gonna have to sort of like break them down properly for you to understand what I mean. But like I've said, the starting point really is figuring out the skill or the services that you can actually repackage or package and sell them as a service. And in terms of the skills, these skills could be something that you haven't even learned. Maybe your starting point could be learning how to do those skills first. Like some of you guys on this call, when I talked about freelancing jobs that you could do from home and bring in between $350 to $750 every month, selling some of the services that you are offering to other businesses. I gave an example in that recording that in my business alone, because we've got a network of online businesses, we do hire every now and then people who can write content for us. Some of them we don't even have to hire them to write content for us. We actually go and buy these services from other companies that are providing writing services. And I gave an example, and I even shared on my screen how much money we are spending every month to buy content from those what we call content mills. Their job or their service is based on the fact that they hire a pool of writers, and we post jobs that we need done, and those writers, they write the content, and we take the content and we use it however we want. Now, this sort of business formula can also be used as an individual, as a freelancer, and I shared some of those tips on how you could go about doing it, from setting up your platforms, setting up your profile, to how to scout for customers and how to find clients, how to pitch your jobs, and all sorts of things. And if you missed on that one, I think there should be some links, or some links in the video description, where you could be able to get those on my channel. I think you will be able to find those videos that are available there. So the first starting point would be, if you have to go and learn a skill, learning the skill, and then turning around using that skill that you've learned to go and repackage it as a service and sell it to others who need the services. So if you're going to go into freelancing, take one or two courses that have got to do with freelancing, or how to write a compelling sales page and things like that, and then turn around and sell those services to somebody who is looking for freelancing services. That's what I'm talking about. If it's designing a website, then go and learn how to design WordPress websites and stuff like that. And once you know how to do it, then turn around and repackage that service and sell it to other new business owners who are looking for somebody who has the knowledge in setting up and configuring WordPress websites. That's the kind of services that we are talking about. But to make things a lot easier, let's talk about an article that I think I published on our blog, where we talked about making money as an Instagrammer, somebody who has an Instagram account. This is something I think most of you guys on this call already have existing. You're already on Instagram, and probably maybe you have even 200, 1,000, even 5,000, even hundreds of thousands of followers following you. So I shared in that article how you could turn around and sell the services to other businesses who are looking for what we call Instagram influencers. And one of the things that I mentioned in that is for you to become a successful and influential influencer as an Instagram is to make sure that when you create your Instagram account, whether you have 2 or 3 or 5 Instagram accounts, you could create those Instagram accounts based on a niche market that you choose. So if you are going to be into fashion industry where you're promoting fashion, pick sort of like a niche that is easier for people when they want to promote their products. They should find you as somebody who is commanding an authority in that niche, and that kind of like gives you an authenticity when you say you are an influencer in that area. We also did an article, I think, and I think I've got a few videos recorded that talk about how to establish your business and dominate it in a certain niche, so that you can become an authority in that. If you translate those skills into creating an Instagram account where you now have an authority in that niche and people are following you because you are an authority in that niche, then you quickly become an influencer in that sense, and people will come to you and they sort of like ask you to help them promote the products that they are selling. A good example is my business partner and I, we run a cosmetics business. This cosmetics business has got 3 categories. We we produce products that are halal, and we also produce products that are targeted for curly hair, as well as the products that are targeted for people who wants to keep natural hair. And these products, we promote them through Instagram influencers, and people who are buying these products from us, they're buying these products because they're coming into our business through the influencers that we hire, and we pay them between $350 up to $1,000 for them to promote our pieces of content on their Instagram channels. So there's a process behind this from the time you create your Instagram account to a stage where now you start promoting yourself as an influencer in that particular niche. And that's what we're talking about, that before you start doing anything, or before you start scouting for people who can pay you money to promote their content on your Instagram account, build the community first, build the authority first, become the authority first, and then turn around and promote those services to businesses like ourselves, who are constantly on the lookout for Instagram influencers who can promote our products and services. So that's the starting point. And if you are new to Instagram and you don't know how to structure your Instagram, or maybe even Facebook as well, because we've got other influencers who have got communities on Facebook, and we speak to them. We pay them money to help us promote products and services to their Facebook groups. These could be closed groups where now we go in with the strategies that are like joint venture strategies. When we launched our premium course, we set up joint ventures with a number of Facebook community owners who have a huge following on Facebook, and because they have a huge following on Facebook in their closed group, we were able to set up a webinar training where we spoke to about 800 attendees in that private group. And one of that joint ventures earned us 200 subscribers who ended up buying our membership courses. And these are courses that are selling for nearly $300 a month in subscription. And we are talking about a service that is membership based, and people are paying. They are paying a monthly subscription, but there were also some upsells inside that. You can imagine that from acquiring 200 members out of the 800 who attended, we were able to make a sizable amount of commission for the community owners who owns the communities. So if you want to sort of like learn a skill, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should go and sort of like go and start learning how to code. No, it doesn't work like that. All right, you could go out and learn a skill in terms of how to build a Facebook community, how to leverage Instagram, and become an influencer who then eventually turns around and sells those services to people who are looking for the service. We had to part away with the almost 10% of the sales we made on that particular call to this group owner, because he opened the doors to his private group for us to go and speak to people on the services and products that we are promoting. And then in return, out of the 800 people who attended, 200 people managed to buy our products. And mind you, out of those 200 people who bought the services, some of, I think we had 20 of them. They bought a private coaching package, which is a lot of money. We're talking about almost $5,000 a pop. So now you see that even if we did this group webinar, coaching, and we only signed up the 20 who bought a package of 5,000 worth of one-to-one coaching in terms of building business and stuff like that. We could be talking about some serious money that we're talking about. Just 10% out of that is serious money. All right. So really, when we talk about starting with skill and then services as the starting point, where now if you don't have the skills, go and acquire those skills, or find the services that you want to sell and package them, and then turn around and go and sell those services to companies or maybe individuals who are looking for those services. That's the starting point as the first phase of building your business online. This is a sort of like an entry level to building a business online. So the first thing is, if you don't know how to, if you don't have skills, then you learn the skill first. And once you've learned the skill, package that skill, and then turn around and sell that skill to people who are looking for those skills. And the skills that you could actually sell, they range from managing an Instagram account for a business owner, or managing a Pinterest account for a business owner, or maybe even doing Instagram graphics that you could sell as downloads, or maybe how to put together a blog post that you could actually sell to somebody who is looking for a blog post that they can publish on their website. And then the second stage is what I just alluded about, building a community or a brand. At this particular stage, it's what we call community growth. All right. And this is what happens after you've sort of like mastered the skill level on phase one. Usually you start sort of like building a network of clients. So if you've acquired 5, 6, 10, 8 clients along the way, now you're sort of like migrating from the level where you were building the skill and stuff like that, to sort of like now establishing a brand of your own. And at this particular stage, you start building a following of people and the businesses that like the services that you do. Let me give you an example, like one of the services that we provide as an SEO provider. We speak to small business owners that we help to rank their businesses online, and we're talking about local business owners like plumbers, landscape companies, dog walking business owners, hair salons, roofers, dentists. These businesses locally, they come to us, or we go to them and we tell them, we share with them what we can do for them, and we open a discussion based on the fact that either we've ranked certain businesses within their niche, or maybe we could help them in ranking ABCD and stuff like that. Usually we normally just we don't just go there to sing stories that we don't have social proof or anything to show for that this is what we've done. that's the good thing about moving into second stage, where now you are building a community and or maybe I should say a brand, because you have already proven, you have already helped others. You've already built a reputation by offering a proven method that you can actually make money, or maybe you can make this business work and stuff like that on the first phase. When you are learning the skills, after you've learned the skills and then now you turned around and you've started selling the skills, you have built 10, 15, 20 clients. And those 10, 15, 20 clients, let's say if they were clients who hired you to help them in ranking their businesses, you have now sort of like put together what we call testimonials, and you could show those to now to clients. You're building on your second phase of building a business online. And the way how you make money at this stage is by offering now coaching services to other businesses who want to either they want to add a new revenue stream. We are constantly working with the other business owners who are already online, but they just don't know how to sort of like build other business revenue streams into their business. So we go in there and we show them how to either build a Facebook sales funnel. If they have a private group, believe you me, there's a lot of people who are running huge social private groups, but they just don't know how to monetize those groups. So we go in there and we show them how they can monetize those businesses, and we show them not just by saying, okay, go and invite somebody who can sell a product within your business. We structure the business in such a way that even after when they've brought in somebody and spoke and sold a product, there is a business system built, and there's a sales funnel within that, and a social sales funnel that is making you money on Facebook, and a social sales funnel that's gonna make you money on Pinterest. They are completely different, because both platforms, they offer groups, but the way how the groups work is completely different, and the same thing applies to Instagram as well. So these sort of stages, like when you move on to stage number 2, you make money by coaching, consultancy. You can also make money as an affiliate. Like in my case, if I work with okay, so I have an estate agent who has worked with me in all the properties that we managed to acquire as an extension to the money that we make online. We have a strategy where now we are sort of like getting the money we've invested in digital assets and migrating them into physical assets, where now we've either sold a website for 100k, and then we take that 100k and invest it into a property, where we go now and buy a property, and along the process we've got quantity surveyors, we've got mortgage advisors, and then we've got estate agents. All these services, if you carefully look around them, you'll notice that they are services that have got unspoken affiliate services attached to them. So I have a number of business owners that I'm coaching along the way. They are making a lot of money online, and they are saying, look, I'm making a lot of money online, but this business, I don't know what's going to be like in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So how can I sort of like fence myself or protect my assets, protect my earnings, so that I don't have to suffer if any changes came around and knocked down my businesses. And that's how now we start now moving out of investing on digital assets, investing into property. And that's where now these professionals come in. I don't know how to do quantity surveying. I don't know how to invest money in terms of like becoming a financial advisor and things like that. I don't know how about mortgage advisor and stuff like that. These are skills that I think they are outside my skill sets that I have. So if I pass on my people who want to invest to these investment companies, those investment companies give me a commission, so I can work as an affiliate to them. So there is a chain of processes that you could actually sort of like create revenue streams across the board, and you're making money even when you are not necessarily doing anything. So it could be something that you did last year, and this year you end up getting paid 10, 15, 20, even 50K for the work that you did last year. So that's the second phase. The third stage is the sort of like establishing a movement or scaling the business up. And in this stage, I think it's where now you sort of like create products, you create courses, you offer, software as a service. You start developing into sort of like a big scale operation of small portion of services around the business. And I'll give you an example. When we started the cosmetics blog, we started it at entry level, like a product review that was reviewing product and services that were offered by big companies. Like one of our blog was about skin condition like acne. So our focus was to promote affiliate products that are built around getting rid of acne and things like that. But eventually, over time now, we scaled that business into producing our own product range. The product range which get rid of oily skin, get rid of acne and things like that. And these businesses now, if you look at the way how the perceived value of the business changed, would be when we started operating the blog as an affiliate blog, we were making roughly about £100 a day. Right? So if you look at that over 30 days, you will notice that we were making on the blog about £3,000 every month. All right, and if you look at a blog that's making £3,000 every month, then you will notice that if I had to sell that business today, the perceived value would have been £3,000 I make every month times 12, which would give you about somewhere around 36,000. And if I had to sell that blog to somebody who is interested in buying it, they would buy that business from me based on the perceived value revenue over 2 years, which is I think about £72,000. So if I sold that blog for £72,000, I would then take that money, go either and build 5 more blogs on different niches, or maybe somewhere around anything closer to what I was doing, but not directly competing with my buyers. Even though when you talk of online businesses, there is no such a thing as competition. I think online businesses, competition is relatively healthy. there's always room for anybody to jump in and do whatever they need to do, provided they know what they are doing and stuff like that. So you will notice that by doing that, on phase number 3, I have an opportunity to create a product which sort of like it scales up my earning ability. So I'm selling my own product, but I'm also earning affiliate revenue. So if I'm selling, let's say maybe 1,000 units for a product which is selling for 40 pounds, that would be 40k every month. And if I take my expenses out of that and things like that, then I could be left with a business which is making me roughly about probably maybe 25,000 every month in revenue. And if I add the $3,000 the 3,000 pounds that I'm making every month, that's 28k. And a business that's making me profit 28,000 pounds every month. If I had to multiply that by 12 months and then multiply the selling price for the business would be multiplied by 2 years. That's some serious money that we are talking about there. So really, when we talk about learning the skill, it's not necessarily something that is going to be complicated, but understanding the stages that you've got to move from the starting point where now you are able to make between 350 to 750 pounds every month, and then scaling the very same business within the next 24 months to making you 10,000 pounds every month, and then what you do next with that business is what we are talking about here. So many people want to sort of like skip the 2 phases, and that's perfectly fine. I understand that, but you've got to understand that almost everybody who is successful at doing what I'm talking about here, they started by following this pattern where you start from phase 1 and then you move to phase 2 and then you go on until strike it begins in phase 3. It's perfectly fine to skip phase 1 and phase 2, but you need money to do that. Let me give you an example. Like if you are going to set up an SEO company where you're providing services, SEO services to other businesses, and you know that you don't have the skills, you don't know how to do the work yourself, you're gonna have to go and hire other people to do that kind of work for you. So it means you've skipped the learning curve where you would have learned how to do SEO on first phase, and then moving to second phase where now you are able to go out and scout businesses and bring in into your business as an SEO agency, and then also turning around and showing other people and teaching other people, maybe putting out services like software as a service, because you've now built your own software development team that's putting together solutions that can serve the kind of market you are targeting. Those are the kind of things that I think a lot of people kind of like they overlook these things when they are doing that, and because they are looking at skipping the 2 phases, and then it requires for them to kind of like have a sizable amount of money that they can use for promoting their service, as well as fulfillment of the service and product that they are talking. And by the way, stages 1 and stages 2, they kind of like overlap. There's a blurring line in between them. When you are sort of like established, you sort of like kind of like they cross over to each other. So you've got to be a bit careful in knowing exactly which line you are crossing over. If you cross over and migrate quickly into phase 2 before you become very well equipped, or maybe skilled, or you haven't mastered the skills that you are using to migrate to level 2, you spend a bit more time there and you struggle to sort of like break out. So I think it pays understanding and knowing which stage you are starting. Are you on stage 1 or are you on stage 2? Then you can start to see what sort of businesses you should focus on and approach those businesses and pitch and do whatever you do. Guys, building a business online is not very difficult, but when you start skipping these stages, it becomes extremely hard for you to actually cope with the pressures that comes with the whatever level that you jump in. So I know I've helped a number of businesses who started, instead of starting from phase 1, they skipped that phase and either jumped into phase 2 or straight to phase 3. And because you haven't got the tooling and the skills, with everything that happens with starting a business as a newbie, the pressure is just too much. The pressure is just too much. So you really have to really sort of like prepare yourself. Okay, so how do you sort of like get the money in both stages? You can actually make money. That's the good thing about this business. So it doesn't matter which stage you're starting on. It could be the first stage, which is stage 1. You could still make money. If you move on to stage 2, you could still make money. Stage 3, even more money. But you have to understand that your focus really shouldn't be how much money you should be making quickly and stuff like that. If you really want to build a sustainable business, think about the value that you're delivering to your customers and how much you're bringing into the table. I think that's very important. You know, it could be marketing, networking, events, Facebook groups, LinkedIn, and even joining in Express 10K program. I think it's a must for anyone who is either on the first stage of developing their business online, or maybe even the second or the third. It helps having somebody who has been there, done that, to help them sort of like navigate around. I think it's important. And what we provide in Express 10K are building blocks where now, instead of you going out paying somebody to show you how to do SEO on a website, how to configure WordPress, how to design your website, how to market your blog and things like that. You learn those skills inside the Express 10K, and a huge portion of these courses is provided for free. All right, so really, if you want to kind of like do this and you think you can do it on your own without belonging to a group, you're wrong. We have a private group on Facebook, and in this group I've learned a lot more from participants in the group than I would have learned if I was doing what I do on my own. So it's not just about you kind of like being the guy who knows everything. I bring in people into the private group who teach other people, but I also get to learn the skills that I probably wouldn't get access to those skills. And sometimes you people will always surprise you in groups like this. Somebody shows up with the asking you to help them with the monetizing their website, and you notice that they are very good at SEO strategies and things like that, and before you know it, you end up learning one or two things from them, as well as you are helping them to do whatever they are trying to do to achieve what they are trying to achieve. And in the Authority blog launch, this is where I teach you how to do stage 2 and the stage 3 for your clients. And with the bonus materials, I teach you how to find clients as a business and build your business and scale it. So it really kind of like ties all the dots together to make it a very, very attractive package for anyone who is considering to start building an online business. It's very challenging, and if I found that you decided to start with the stage 1, I would advise you to not worry much about a niche, steady, kind of like look for somebody, look for any business that's looking for the services that you can offer. So if you are writing, if you're very good at writing and you want to write blog posts and things like that, I wouldn't advise you to say, okay, go and look for dentists and sell blogging services to those only dentists. You're gonna run out of people to speak to give you business before you even get started, because you are narrowing your pool where you can swim. But as you begin and you want to write articles for other businesses, be somebody who is very adaptable. You can write a blog post about fashion, you can write a blog post about dental hygiene, you can write a blog post about legal services and things like that. This is sort of like the first stage where you are trying to find yourself, and you're trying to find the best way of serving your customers and things like that. That's, I think, the first approach I would want you to kind of like think about and do it that way. You would also need to recognize that as a digital marketer on stage 1, I think the most clients that you're going to get would only be based on the fact that somebody either has referred you to those clients, saying, oh, hey, I spoke to Eddie and he helped me with ABCDE, and if you want, call him on this number, I think he's going to help you. Or it could be you going out and networking with the people and clients who are either in your local chamber and stuff like that. I remember when we just got started, we attended a lot of e-commerce chamber gatherings and things like that. These networking groups sort of like helped to launch us into the mainstream market, where now we didn't have to go out and speak to people so that they can give us business. So it's really about knowing what you need to do first, and what you need to be doing on your second and your third phase. And like I've said, that in the next couple of days I'm going to be doing videos and breaking down what you need to be doing on phase 1 and what you need to do on phase 2, so that at least you understand and you have a complete guide on how to go about breaking the activities that you should be doing on these pages. All right. So like I normally encourage everybody to sort of like leave a comment in the below this video. If some of you guys who are in our private group on Facebook, make sure to head over there and drop in your questions and the discussion points that you would want us to touch base with. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We continue sharing ideas on how to start a small business and how to grow it, and even more, some of you guys, if you're looking for somebody to help you in structuring your sales funnel and stuff like that, make sure to get in touch, and would help you get started doing that. All right, thanks for showing up. Cheers.